Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I am your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras, from California. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
Nope, my name is Mike P. Waworski. I am your co-host from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most, here on the Rundown 2A Views, conservative news. Craig, how's your weekend going so far?
Man, it is going phenomenally. Definitely, the weather is kind of coming. Now, we went through almost a week of 100-degree plus temperatures.
Right.
It was not pleasant, at least if you were outside. But we're looking at going into a 4th of July weekend with like mid to low 80s, sunny. It is going to be a beautiful holiday weekend.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Very
Nice. How about yourself?
Glad to see you. Let's see. What did I? It's going. I went and finally saw the Top Gun last night. So that was pretty good.
Your thoughts?
The movie was great.
Oh.
A lot of tribute to the old movie. There's a lot of stuff shot the same way. I believe there were even some voice dubs of the old actors. But the number one thing that impressed me about that was absolute zero PC and woke nonsense in that movie.
Oh, most definitely. It was there was absolutely no attempt to wokeify it. And it's funny because now that's like the top, I mean, by far the top post-COVID movie. I got to admit, I was kind of mad at them that they waited so long for it to bring it out because, there were a lot of not very good movies that came out during COVID. But I am so glad that I got a chance to see that on the big screen. Very, very well done. The improvements of technology, both film and aviation technology, were on display and were impressive. I also anyway, those are, but the homages to the original were perfectly timed and not too cheesy.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I vowed I wasn't going to see it. Well, I vowed I was not going to pay money to see it because of what they did, and I did not. Somebody else dragged me along, paid for the ticket last night, and I'll say I didn't resist a lot,
But you kept your word.
Exactly right. So, good stuff, and awesome, incredibly awesome. The whole no woke, no PC, nothing, Craig. No.
Right.
Two dudes making out in the background during the celebration scene. None of that. So,
by the way, folks, look, it's a very pro-American film. That's why I encourage people to watch it, because it's time to send a message to Hollywood. Look, traditional values, family. I'm not saying against anything, whatever y'all want, but when you start forcing it in, when you start forcing wokeness into film, into art, into entertainment, you're going to have a huge chunk of the population that is going to tune out. So how about this? How about you, if you want to make a movie about something woke because you want to focus on that, then do that. Just know that that's the audience that's going to go watch it. And the rest of us are going to go watch, pro-American, pro-family, pro-American values type entertainment.
Yeah, it gets annoying. Listen, there's a couple TV shows like I tried to watch. They come on and they're like, "Oh, this is an interesting story." And at the end of the first show or the end of the second show, they're all standing around, and it's like, "Good work, everybody. All right, we'll see everybody here tomorrow at work. Now I'm going to go home and see my husband," says the one guy. And you're like, you don't need to be forcing that crap down. I mean, there's no reason. It's not part of the storyline. Is that part of everyday society that people are going to have alternate lifestyles? Sure. But I don't need Hollywood shoving it down our throat like the way they do. It turns you off, and I think they're seeing that now with the Disney film.
I still remember probably the first time maybe not the first time, the most shocking time for me. It was a while ago. It was on Law and Order. It was at the end of at the end of the season. It was a season finale, and Fred Thompson was still on there. He was the district attorney at the time. That's how long ago it was. Right? Yeah. And I still remember he's sitting there, he's talking to the blonde ADA, and he's talking to her about her tactics and how she employed like some really unscrupulous tactics to try and win a case. And he was basically letting her know that he was letting her go. And out of nowhere, she just said, "Is it because I'm gay?" fade to black. And I'm like,
Yeah. What?
What? Exactly.
Yeah.
What in any...
Don't need it.
There was nothing. It was like, anyway, and it's only gotten worse since then. The other gender bender that gets me is you're watching the show like with the cop or the FBI agent, right? And the male is like fighting with the suspect, or he's chasing the suspect, and he's getting his butt kicked, or he can't catch the guy, and then out of nowhere comes the 5'2" female agent who slams the guy on the floor and subdues him.
Yeah.
I'm like, one time I watched the 3 FBI shows that are on, and it happened in every episode that night. I even told my wife, I said, watch, he's getting his butt kicked. Watch the female agent come in and kick his butt.
I don't watch any of those because of that reason, because of the the whole woke crowd. You can't watch an episode without having it forced on your face. And it's ridiculous. Like, they might be doing an investigation, and then if you look in the background, there's 2 girls making out. You're like,
right?
Okay, stop.
Please stop.
We just want to see normal life, normal TV. So
Exactly. Well, okay. So, folks, we've bantered enough, but now you hear our issues that we have with wokeness in media. So y'all stop it and let us enjoy our shows.
Let's be clear. It's not about the activity. If that's your lifestyle, that's your lifestyle. But you know what?
Right.
You don't see, Craig, you and your wife in the background making out during the TV scene. Why do we need to see anybody else in the background making out during the TV scene?
Exactly. If it fits the plot or whatnot, fine. But if just when you're trying to force it in, please stop. It's visibly, it's recognizably forced.
Yeah. And listen, we're not anti-LGBT.
No.
If that's your thing, that's your thing.
Right.
Let live and let live.
Exactly. All right, but folks, hey, however you're watching us, however you're listening, do us a favor. Please make sure, like, share, subscribe. Look, the algorithms, because we are a conservative show, because we use words like patriot, because we use words like, Second Amendment, obviously, the algorithms suppress our spread, shall we say, our influence. So the only way that we can really grow the show is by you folks who like watching, who like listening, sharing it and encouraging your friends to tune in as well. So please make sure, like, share, subscribe. You can watch us on YouTube. You can watch us on Rumble. You can watch us on Facebook. You can watch us on OpsLens. You can watch us on Spotify. And you can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. So once again,
or you can join us right here. You can join us in the studio audience and watch us here.
There you go. Join the studio audience. All right, let's get on to today's news. Story number 1, armed insurrectionists. That's right. One of the things, there was so much attention that was paid yesterday to the surprise, not yesterday, day before yesterday, to the surprise hearsay lying individual who claimed that President Trump tried to steal the presidential limo. There was so much attention paid to that there was a lot of people who ignored information or testimony that was brought up about arms that were in the possession of individuals during the January 6th riot. During January 6th. And so here is an article, and once again, this is where they're basically talking about that. And I found it kind of interesting, and this is why I wanted to do this, because I wanted to run this by you. Because the person who was kind of leading the charge on this was Liz Cheney, Republican from Wyoming, daughter to Little Dick Cheney. But here they brought, they had information. Now, mind you, most of these people were not arrested for possession of firearms, right? So there was very little. Most of these people were not arrested, were not prosecuted. But there's these, you hear on the reports, you hear on the radio. You have one incident here where it says 3 men walking down the street in fatigues carrying AR-15s at 14th and Independence. That was one radio transmission. Another one, white male, stock of an AR-15. Someone can be heard saying in a recording, green fatigues, Glock-style pistols in their waistband. Here's another one. Elevated threat in the trees, American flag mask, weapon on the right side of their hip, a transmission is saying. Now, My question is, why didn't they have the people who were making these transmissions there testifying? Number one. Number two, why weren't any of these people arrested? I mean, you're also, by the way, in a place with more cameras than just about anywhere in the world. Why is it that none of the cameras caught any of this?
Well, because none of it's true. We know that already. We've learned from previous actual investigations, not this sham kangaroo court that's going on out there, that false transmissions were put out to try and to stir up the violence, and this was put out by those that were out there, those anti-Trump supporters that were there trying to get the violence started. The just like we'd see at any other riot that would go on. Excuse me, peaceful protest that would turn. This happened at every location. This is the same stories we heard from everyone. Calls of guns, calls of people with guns that turned out not to be true. So we know they're lies. Liz Cheney, by the way, yeah, she's listen, it's an embarrassment to have the R next to her name. I know her father believes she's an embarrassment, to the party, to the family. And listen, you can make fun of Liz Cheney, Craig, but I'd tell you, don't make fun of Dick Cheney because he shoots people in the face. So you better be careful.
Yeah. He shoots. At least he only shoots his friends in the face.
That's right. Imagine what he does if you're not his friend. Yeah.
But you know what's funny about this is this article, that article, that thing. Then there was actually in Salon. Was it Salon? Yeah, in Salon there was actually also a piece where they're talking about that how the Second Amendment decision, basically the Thomas decision, we'll call it, or Bruin. They're talking about how that decision would ensure that the next January 6th will be much deadlier because it will allow people who are basically criminals, because that's the only people who engage in those sorts of violent activities. But they're saying it's going to make it much deadlier because we've now expanded the rights, or who has the right to bear arms. Because, well, obviously more people are going to be carrying guns. So if more people are carrying guns, then that's going to be the case. But what's interesting to me is in places or during incidents of violence where individuals have concealed carry permits are actually carrying, the death tolls tend to be much lower than if you're waiting on law enforcement to respond.
Yeah, amazing, right? The whole good guy with the gun thing is a fact. We see this constantly. How many times have we seen school shootings, one in Alabama and one in Texas, that were stopped just in the past couple of weeks because there was a good guy with a gun to go in there and put the bad guy down, as opposed to standing around waiting for an hour like the Uvalde folks did, or in Buffalo when there was nobody there armed to protect anybody else. We see these things happen all the time. The good guy with the gun stops the bad guy with the gun, and it's just the way it works. I can't emphasize it anymore. Statistically, literally, however you want me to show it to you, it's been proven time and time again.
Oh, no. It does, because once again, this is not a knock on law enforcement, but as I always say, they can't be everywhere. And if there's someone on scene who has a firearm, and I'm hoping if you own a firearm, I'm hoping you are training. I don't believe in mandating it, but I'm hoping you're taking time, you're training, you're taking classes, you're getting better. But if you're trained and you have a firearm and you are present at the time the incident starts, there's a greater likelihood that the incident will end much sooner.
It's again proven fact, time and time again.
But data does not matter. Not to them, not to the anti-gunners.
Well, and that's why I say, whether you want statistical facts, you want literal facts, you want whatever you really want, because we know. Listen, I saw the in Breyer's dissent from the New York State Rifle Pistol Association. He was quoting Everytown facts,
right,
and Bloomberg facts, which is it's all lies. He quoted something like we've had over 400 mass casualty events and. In the first 6 months, no, we hadn't. No, we haven't. It's
not. But the cause of them is not firearms. The cause of them, if you look at overwhelmingly, gangs and drugs. Overwhelmingly, gangs and drugs. Especially, by the way, when you try to decriminalize gangs and drugs. And by the way, you let the drug dealers and the gang members out of jail.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, they don't get that part. They don't get that part. It
No,
doesn't matter.
that part makes absolutely no sense to them. The idea that we ought to maybe, I don't know, lock up people who commit crimes. But
Yeah.
anyway, we got a story in a little bit. I'll share with you an
I
example of that one.
all right.
But let's talk about something else that's kind of criminal.
All right.
I briefly talked yesterday about an incident that's taken place in the state of California, and that is a data breach. So there was a database platform that was put up by the California Attorney General's office, California Department of Justice, Mr. Rob Bonta, and I still have yet to figure out what the idea of this data portal was. But it included a bunch of stuff, including access to information on concealed carry permit holders, but it also included dealer record of sales. It also included information on gun violence restraining orders, on assault weapons registrations, because yeah, we have an assault weapon ban here in California. But Mike, it's even worse than we thought, and this is how we know it's even worse than we thought, because even the L.A. Times is reporting on it. All right, when the LA Times says it's bad, you know it's bad because they are about as anti-gun as it gets. But what they are noting in this particular piece was that the data that was included or data that was released included information on individuals, not just who were in possession of one, who got a permit, but people who were denied, why they were denied, and people who were approved, the types of weapons that they have on their concealed carry permits. Now, the Attorney General's office says that it was unauthorized. So wait a minute. But you notice he didn't say accidental.
That's right.
The quote was unauthorized, not accidental. So that leads me to believe that somebody did this on purpose, and they know someone did this on purpose.
Unauthorized. Yeah, if it's unauthorized, you can assume from that it was intentional.
Right.
It was an intentional release in response to New York State right. By the way, we got to come up with a shorter one than New York State Rifle Pistol Association versus Bruin. We got to figure out a shorter. Now, well, because Bruin, you don't use the loser
True.
in the case. You always use the winner in the case when
true,
you cite
true.
a case. So we got to figure out another one for that, but. Yeah, out of the New York case, we could just call it.
The New York case, okay. New York pistol case. There you go.
Yeah, but this is clearly done over the New York case. They were incredibly mad, pissed. We know all of that, and then they went to the news media and told us how they were going to make things harder for people to get guns. And you know what? This is one of the ways. All right. If all of a sudden you got a bunch of new people out there considering to be new gun owners or to file for new permits to get outside the house permits, and then you just release all their information. That's a deterrent right there for them to apply for those permits.
Well, I will tell you, and I've decided it was brought up when I was on with Paul the other day, and he was like, you basically what you've done is you've created a shopping list for people who want to go and steal guns. They know exactly where to go and where to get them. And as I explained to him, I said, well, I'll just put it to you this way. There's always someone home at the DeLuz household, so it might not be a pleasant shopping experience.
Right. Yeah. You've given them a shopping list, but you've also given the owners a target list, right? Be on the lookout. People are coming for you.
Right. So I've been getting calls about if there's going to be some sort of a class action lawsuit. I will be surprised if there is not some sort of action taken if someone does not sue. Because here's the problem is, whenever the state of California
action is what you need. Nothing else is going to mean anything. You need criminal action.
Well, there should be. If it's been deemed and it can be if it can be proven that this is criminal, then someone needs to go to jail for this because this is. Once again, you're now putting targets on the backs of Californians, and this is just evidence. Every single time the state of California tries to engage in, once again, the home of Silicon Valley. Right? Every time we try to engage in some sort of a data or computer-based whatever, it always gets messed up. It's always screwed up. There's always mistakes. And once again, it seems to happen an inordinate number of times when it comes to firearms and firearms owners.
It always does. Like we said, now they've taken these people and they've made them targets. They've put them at heightened alert. You've got How many thousands and thousands of people now sitting around the house at DEFCON 1? What kind of incidents are we going to see because of this? This
Over
is clearly brought on.
200,000 people who have applied for or received concealed carry permits in the state of California.
This is clearly brought on by the Attorney General's office.
Yes.
We saw their response after the New York State case, and this is it. This is what they've decided to do to get even with you.
Yep, pretty much. I don't disagree with that at all. But hey, the problem is these criminals will probably get away with it. Because by the way, that's not a new thing in California. The idea of criminals getting away with stuff. Our next story is also kind of goes to the point we were making in our first story about letting criminals out on the streets. So the Tulare County Police Department or Sheriff's Department had put out a press release, and they were all excited because they had arrested 2 individuals who were in the possession, Mike, of 150,000 tablets of fentanyl. Now, right now there's a fentanyl crisis going on. Almost every illicit drug that is out there, illegal drug that is out there, is laced. You can find versions of it laced with fentanyl because it's a cheap opioid. It's highly addictive. It's very, very potent, but because of it's very potent and very addictive, it's also very deadly. So one tablet of this, just touching it, one tablet of this can kill you. I mean, that's how bad this stuff is. Well, you had a couple of guys who were caught with 150 tablets. 150, Mike. I'm sorry, 150,000. Let me clarify. 150,000 tablets. And they were released on their own recognizance without bail. Now, this was not the Sheriff's Department. Evidently, there was something that they were supposed to do, that they had to go through some court proceeding that they went through, and it was deemed that they were not considered to be a threat. So they were released on their own recognizance, Mike.
Well, Craig, you have to understand this is a non-violent crime. It's they didn't do anything violent to anybody, and they didn't have any firearms. So why would they hold them? Why not let them go?
Right. Exactly. Well, but I've seen cases where they're letting people out of jail even if they had a firearm. The point is, possession of a firearm is not considered "quote unquote" violent.
Crime.
If you're a criminal. Now, if you're a law-abiding citizen, possession of a firearm is considered violent.
That's a terrorist act, then. Yeah.
Right. Then it's a terrorist act. But yeah,
whether they let these fools out on accident or this is part of the new guidelines for making bail, then either way, it's ridiculous that they're out. It's a horrible tragedy that they're out. I bet these guys probably took 10 or 15 minutes in between being released and starting to deal drugs again, Craig. So there is that deterrent that they had to actually get an Uber to where the drugs were to start all over.
I would not be surprised if they snuck back, because neither one of them were here illegally. I wouldn't not be surprised if they snuck back across the border.
Yeah. Bye. See you later. I'm gonna go get a new fake ID, and I'll be back next week.
Now they're saying they have detectives looking for them. Evidently, there was some algorithm that they're supposed to use to determine their threat. And once again, no one notified the court. So the court did this. No one notified the Sheriff's Department until after the assessment was done, and they were ordered to release them.
Of course.
I'm just wondering how many lives were saved because those 150,000 pills aren't out there. And I'm like, how are you ever going to trace them back to where this stuff came from if you let the guys go who are the ones who are in possession of it?
Oh, listen, they'll trace them back, Craig. I'm sure that's already traced back to south of the border. I'm sure one of the bags, there's going to be fingerprints, touch DNA, all that kind of stuff on there. They've probably already found out where they come from, and it comes from south of the border, which means nothing, which means tear the case in half. You know what you do? I got some names here. I'm going to give them to the guys at the Border Patrol, and if people come across with those names, that's it. But I'm telling you, those people go back across to Mexico and can have a brand new birth certificate and passport within a week. It's just all for sale down there.
Yep. Nope. You are 100% correct. 100% correct. But folks, just to be real with you, I'm going to say it once again. most, and I know they want to go after people with guns and gun violence, yada, yada, yada. Most non-suicide related firearms incidents or deaths, most of the overwhelming majority are gang or drug related. These guys, gangs and drugs, and yet and still they are walking the streets free. And we wonder why violent crime is going through the roof.
Yeah, no penalty. No penalty whatsoever.
See, here's the thing. Us normal people are like, first of all, most of us are like, well, look, we're not going to do bad things to harm other people because, we don't want to hurt other people. But even people who might be so inclined, they might think and look, oh, okay, well, it's against the law, so I won't. But bad people need consequences. If there's no consequences to bad action, there are people out there who will do bad things if there's no consequences for doing them.
Yeah, Craig, and I know this is 150,000 pills off the street, and that's what they're going to tout as their success.
Yeah.
But if these two morons got caught in a traffic stop with 150,000 pills, it's because they were the decoy for a tractor trailer moving 10 million of them.
Probably. You are probably right. Hey, I have no reason to believe that you are incorrect.
Yeah.
All right. So 4th of July is coming up, Mike.
And what day is that on?
I don't know if you remember last year when the White House was actually bragging about the cost of. They actually sent out a tweet with a GIF, and they were actually bragging about the cost of 4th of July going down. Matter of fact, here's the tweet right here. This was from the White House. This was on July 1st, 2021, and they were bragging about the cost of 4th of July barbecue going down a grand total of, I think it was 16 cents. Right?
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, there's new numbers out, Mike. And it ain't that cheap no more. Hold on, let me find it. Bam. So this is from the American Farm Bureau. This is the new cost of a barbecue, of a 4th of July barbecue cookout, right? Now, I will say this. I believe this not just a cookout. This does qualify as a barbecue because it does include actual meat, not just burgers and hot dogs, which, by the way, he doesn't have any hot dogs on here. I'm wondering, you got to have, if you're going to have burgers, you got to have hot dogs. And there's also no other beef other than ground beef, because that's probably because any beef other than ground beef is crazy expensive. But according to the American Farm Bureau, American Federated Farm Bureau, the cost is up 17% from last year. 17%. The one that gets me here is I'm looking at the ground beef, $11.12. That means it's about $5 a pound. I remember this time last year, it was, well, even before that, it was somewhere around around $3 a pound.
Yeah, $5.56 a pound.
Yeah, now it's $5.56. Chicken, 2 pounds. Once again, you're looking here, it's about $4.50 a pound. Dude, it was around $1 a pound.
Yeah, chicken wings and chicken legs and all that stuff was about $1. It was under $2 a pound. I'll tell you that.
Right.
Chicken breast was about $3 a pound. Yep.
Right. Right here, pork chops is about $5 a pound. Now, you used to be able to get a decent cut of steak around $5 a pound. Now you got to settle for pork chops.
Yep. Pork chops and applesauce.
Now, whoever is paying $4.43 for 2.5 quarts of lemonade, dude, you need to refigure out how you make your lemonade.
Yeah, get you some powder.
That's expensive right there. That's expensive right there. You just get you some lemons and a gang of sugar. It's all good.
Yep.
It's all good. Yeah. But Mike, once again, this is the point. The point is inflation is up, and it's not only is it up, it's through the roof. But
it's not inflation, Craig. Remember, it's not inflation. We don't have inflation. We just have the costs of some things have been raised in order to pay for certain programs. Don't be stupid. Don't argue with the president over this. All right, he'll yell at you for it. Oh, come on, man. This is what we have to do. We all have to tighten up. We all have to make some sacrifices for things we're doing.
gas is up about $3 a gallon, right? Around $3 a gallon, right? Now, $1.50 of that happened before Ukraine ever happened, because he likes to blame it all on Putin. But before we put any boots on the ground, or we never put it on, before Russia put any boots on the ground in Ukraine, it was already up $1.50. Since then, it's continued to go up. What gets me is he says, "Well, I had nothing to do with any of that." I'm like, dude, you're the one who, through your policies and through your rhetoric, you've ended new leases. So you cut off new leases. You ended the XL pipeline. You basically told fossil fuel companies that you are going to put them out of business. And now you're wondering why they won't do some of these things, why they won't do some of this new exploration, because any of the work and energy that they put in, the research and development, all of that work is upfront, right? What you've told them is, yeah, go ahead, do the exploration, do the investigation, do the research, build out the infrastructure. And then you're not going to be able to pay for it because we're going to cut you off as soon as we decide we want to.
Yeah, it's when you have the conversation with these people, Craig, when you say, listen, inflation, look at the price of gas, and their response is, the president's got nothing to do with the price of gas. I don't even have a conversation with them. I just put my hands up and I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was talking to an idiot. I've got to go. I have no time to have a conversation with you about this. I have to go.
I have no interest in having a battle of wits with an unarmed person.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Say hi to Hillary for me. Goodbye.
Yeah. Goodbye. Bye. See, too bad. So sad. All right, moving right along. So today I decided to wear my Firearms Policy Coalition T-shirt. I'll let you hold on. We'll switch over to the. I'll let y'all see it real quick. I decided to wear this shirt today because I wanted to do this one. So I remember looking, and so you got this T-shirt here that says "Save Dogs, Abolish the ATF," right?
And save dogs, abolish the ATF.
I know and I got a lot of questions about that. Well, Mike, do us a quick favor, and you explained it yesterday, but go ahead and explain to us today a little bit more about why is this a thing?
Listen, the ATF, I don't know whether it's a trend going on at their training academy over there in Glencoe, Georgia, or it's just been a lot of happenstance. It seems like when they've done to go do these raids, there's been a lot of dogs. People have owned dogs, and the first thing they do is shoot the dogs. Now, listen, if there's a dog and it's being aggressive and it's one of them trained killer dogs and it's trying to take down a cop, I get that they need to defend themselves, but it's getting to the point now where they're like they get to the place and they just shoot Fifi, like, oh, it's good. Oh, there's shoot spot, gotta go. So it's turned from, it's happened a couple of times into almost lore or folktale that the first thing they do is shoot your dog.
Well, I would wonder if maybe they're concerned that they're an early warning system for.
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah,
that's what dogs are. That's why we have them, right? But
right.
And I don't think they shoot early warning systems. I think they just shoot the dog.
Right.
Maybe they do.
Which, by the way,
it's become to the point where it's become like I said, folklore at this point.
Right. Well, and that led to this particular meme that I wanted to share today because I found this to be hilarious. So you got a guy here with his ATF hat on, and it's
That's
a
ATF
quote,
guy.
AFT, AFT guy.
AFT.
And it says here, yeah, if we're gonna hit a house on a no-knock warrant, we typically bring a burner dog with us. Sometimes a homeowner doesn't own a dog, so we plant one and immediately shoot it in accordance with our standard operating procedure. That's a quote from ATF guy.
ATF guy. Yep. And by now, Craig, he's probably already shot your dog. Yeah. Probably so.
But what's funny is you don't hear like PETA saying anything about this.
No. Well, they don't want their dog shot.
They don't want to get their dog shot.
They don't want to get their dog shot.
Oh,
people know the rules. They know the rules.
Good
it's like
time.
making fun
Good
of Hillary.
times.
You can't do that.
All right, Mike. It's that time. Shout out to our sponsors.
It's that time. Let's say hello to uscombatgear.com, the California Republican Assembly, our good friends at Grid Defense, saw them today, and the Gorilla Machining, I'll see them tomorrow.
Folks, do us a favor once again. The links are in the description to this program, right? All you got to do, click there, go see what they're about. If you like what they're about, spend some money with them, and make sure you tell them that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. And with that, we're going to call it a day. It has been wonderful, and we'll be back tomorrow on Feedback Friday. So come back and encourage your friends to do the same.